Hello, welcome to the episode of Motoring Middle East. Today we're checking out another Mazda. This is the CX-5 crossover. Now a lot of people are asking why have I been driving Mazdas in the last few years, and the reality is I just didn't get around to it. So the last car I drove was the 3 hatchback, which really surprised me. Quite expensive, a little underpowered, but just a lovely car to own and drive. This one promises to be no different. Prices start at $89,900 for the front wheel drive car, which is probably enough because we don't want to take this car off-road. This one is the signature version, $132,900. 2.5 litre Sky Active engine. That's plenty of grunt and poke. And by the way, the 132,000 dirhams also includes tinting, which explains why this car is tinted, and VAT and all of that stuff if you live in the UAE. Really good looking car. Pretty loaded up with kit and trim. So I guess there's nothing left for me to do but walk around and tell you what it's like. So the CX-5 was designed all the way back in 2017, but it doesn't really look like it does. It looks like a really sharp, good-looking car. I love this front end and the way that if you notice, the bonnet or the hood just extends a little bit, giving that a little bit more of a grimace, a little bit more of an angry front end, and also neatly solves the problem of what to do, because this is actually longer for pedestrian safety. Now in most cars they keep this flat, but in Mazda they kept a little bit of an angle, so looks really good. It is a Mazda 6 underneath, which means it has Mazda 6 proportions. That's not a bad thing. The 6 is one of the best driving Mazdas ever made. Wheels are actually pretty big. These are 19-inch wheels on this 4-wheel drive version. I'm sure they're smaller on the front-wheel drive versions, but they're good looking, aren't they? Such a sharp looking car. Not a big car, but it looks like everything about it, like with all Mazdas of late, is just right. If I sound like a fanboy, it's because I kind of love these cars. I love the way they drive, I love the way they look, and they have a certain French air of difference about them. You know, you get the idea that we're doing things differently, not just because we can, but because we think we can do it better. And I like that about it when a car company does that. Very clean back end. Again, pretty much the end that everybody has there with these really aggressive tail lights. Everybody has that look now. Let's see what the boot's like. Oh, and we've got a power tailgate. Not bad for 132,000 dirhams. As you can see, all my stuff is pretty much badly laid out in the back, but unlike the Mazda 3, there's plenty of room. There's indeed plenty of room. This handle back here drops the seat, as I just discovered, and if you pop this back, you've got a full-size spare. Definitely, I don't know why there's so much plastic in the back. I really don't know. It's apparently still a new car. A lot of good luggage room. Easily 2 people, maybe 3 at a pinch. The fact that the plastic is still on the seats of this car is kind of a nice touch, because I grew up with having cars that had plastic on seats and we didn't take them off for years. I'm guessing a lot of you are the same, because you want to keep that new feeling. So I thought new meant sitting on plastic, which is a shame because this is a nice leather seat. Now the 3 hatchback was really quite sloping and aggressive in its design, which meant that it was also quite sloping in its attack on your head. Not much space for people more taller than me. I'm sorry for the rustling. It's plastic. Good headroom. Somebody over 6 foot would be okay. Again, Mazda does the nice thing where they scallop a little bit out of the front seat, so you have a bit of space. You do have a map pocket. You generally have good visibility. And does the seat recline? No, it doesn't. But it's a good, comfortable thing. You've got a headrest. These are really nice leathers, really good feeling quality. Nice stitching as well. Just not too raised, not too bumpy. Let's see what the drop down's like. And 2 cup holders as usual. What have we got under here? Oh, hang on. We've got 2 USBs, and they're actually 2.1 amps, so they're quite far. Well done, Mazda. Finally something for the rear seat passengers. There's also a little slot here where you can plonk an iPad. Probably not the biggest iPad, but you can put an iPad in there. You've also got 2 AC vents, no independent controls, and no rear seat entertainment. Although, to be honest with you, rear seat entertainment is kind of so 2006, isn't it? Nobody's watching DVDs. In fact, the kids all have phones and iPads, so it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, you could probably take 5 people in here, although I would say really it's more of a 2+2, because this middle seat doesn't strike me as being the best place for passengers. If you want a really comfortable 5-seater, CX-9. But CX-9 is a lot more expensive. This is nice. That's what you can say about Mazda. It's just nice. They get all the things right that matter. So, thoughts on the CX-5 cabin. Well, it's not as nice as the Mazda 3, but then again, the Mazda 3 is a generation new, and I'm sure the new CX-5 will be absolutely lovely to look at. Still, this is quite classy and elegant. Big shout out to these seats. They're actually super comfortable, and believe it or not, they're ventilated, and I can prove it because you've got a little button here. Look at that, AC seats. Okay, that's a pretty killer feature. Air conditioning performance, by the way, pretty good. Having the tint really helps. More manufacturers should do that, but I mean, they should be giving this free. We live in a hot country. But this car in 45-degree heat has been coping way better than the Mazda 3, which could get a little breathless at times and always cool me down. But this one is way, way more better. Bigger engine, I suppose. 6-speed auto, drives pretty nice. Don't have to do anything. Doesn't have paddle shifters. Doesn't need it. Quite clever. Got a sport mode. You'll never use it. 2 cup holders here. And an iPhone cable that doesn't come free with the car. Auto hold, which is really nice. Why doesn't every car company have automatic handbrakes? Helps us traffic lights. Jog dial here for home, navigation, music, and back. And this is favorites. It's an Audi copy. But on the other hand, when you go to the main screen, so it is a touch screen. It's just a very slow touch screen. Oh, it's got a Mecca pointer. Well, that's handy for the Saudi market or anywhere else as Muslim. It's a touch screen, but actually it's easy to use the jog dial. The jog dial is just smarter and faster way to work and just less distracting. This car does have applications like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, things that matter. I won't walk you through it because the Mazda system isn't particularly exciting to look at. I mean, once you have CarPlay, don't worry about anything else. But yeah, this is old-fashioned and the new system is way better in the Mazda 3. However, not an hindrance because again, it has CarPlay. This is where the CD player is hidden. Quite clever, Mazda. Alright, what else have we got? Well, apart from the AC controls, you got a start-stop button. Let's come to the steering wheel. Not as nice as the one in the Mazda 3, but let's be honest, what is? Still, all the controls that you need, none of the things that you don't. So you've got your distance here for radar cruise control. That's cruise control power settings. No, that's speed settings, sorry. This is on and off. I'm not sure why it needed 2 buttons, Mazda. You've also got your Bluetooth pickup and cancel call buttons. Track info here, just easy to use. And again, my favorite layout of any car manufacturer, you've got the old rev counter on the left. Doesn't make a bad noise, eh? And of course, you've got a digital speedo in the middle. You're thinking, hang on, that's not a digital speedo. Yes, it is, sir. It is indeed a complete digital speedo. Very, very nippy little car. And of course, fuel and water temp. Range 296. I've been getting about 9-10 liters per 100. Pretty good on gas. There isn't a whole lot I have to say. Oh, and I'll point out one more thing down here. If you look down here and don't get distracted by my keys, what you've got is memory seats. I don't know anybody else's memory seats in this class. Maybe the CR-V, probably not the RAV4. That's really cool. So you've got air conditioned and memory seats, a great seating position. You've also got a heads up display, radar cruise control. Honestly, this thing is pretty darn loaded. Mazda's idea of loaded is my idea of loaded, right? What's it like on the road? Well, that's next. So this is the second Mazda I've had in very quick succession, and I have to say, these are really impressive little cars. This one in particular, as you're about to find out, is actually a really good example. And I made this title very intentionally quite challenging because I believe it. I think this is better than the RAV4. I think this is better than the CR-V. Forget the X-Trail or any of that stuff, not even the same class. So what have we got? 4-cylinder, 2.5, about 187 horsepower, correct me if I'm wrong, and about the same amount in torque. It doesn't matter. What you need to know is this thing is grunty. Where the Mazda 3 struggled off the line, this is pretty good. And by the way, before I start off, big shout out to the Mazda designers. Great seating position, very comfortable. Almost anybody will feel like there's a ton of space in the front. You don't feel like you're hemmed in. There isn't so much just stuff jutting out at you. The cabin is really comfortable. It's a cheeky little Mazda. Grunt. Good noise also. Good noise. Makes a nice sort of snarl as you crest 5,000 RPM. That's quite good. What you're about to find is even better is the handling. The Mazda 3 was a little bit disappointing for me because it was a little nose heavy understeer. This is an old 6 underneath, so great steering. Look how delicate it is. One hand through those corners. The thing that the 3 is missing, I think the new Mazdas are all going to have, is slightly less darty steering. But that's what makes Mazda so nice. like European Fords of the mid 2000s, the Mondeo and such. This car just feels so poised, like it's got a little softness, initial roll softness, so it rolls in, so it tells you that the car is turning. That's very nice in cars that are too stiff and don't turn and are too flat. I don't like cars that are too flat. I like cars to have a little bit of give in them, because then it's a car. It's not a race car. I don't want a race car every day on the street. So this initial lovely delicate steering is exactly what I love. Let's see how it handles on the off-road bit. Let's see how good the ride is. Let's look at the four-wheel drive. Oh, sandy. Doing a steady state, 60 kilometers per hour. Not bad. Can't complain. Not bad. Not perfect, but more than acceptable. Now we are back on the main road. Back on nice, smooth tarmac. Will we pass any air hostesses today? Probably not. In case you're wondering, go back and watch the Mazda 3 video. There were 2 air hostesses by the side of the road out here. I'm not sure what to make of that. Good grunt. I love that little 3 hatchback, but this is just so much quicker. It's all the power you realistically need. There is a turbo version as well. You get the CX-9 engine, which is 250 horsepower. I don't know if it necessarily needs it. This car feels quick enough. I mean, nobody's getting any drag. Stoplight Grand Prix, sharp corner. This car feels like it'll handle a lot better than it probably should, but look how it turns into the corner. Very poised. Just like the way this car drives. And that's everything about the Mazda experience. I said before in the Mazda 3 review, go and watch it. This car feels like it was designed by somebody who knew what people wanted. Not what clinics said, not what marketing people said, or not what people think you should do as a consensus, but as an individual. Like, it won't be to all taste because it's a little bit too nippy, it's a little bit too sharp. The throttle is actually really quite aggressive. Like if you get into a RAV4 or CRV, they feel a lot more damped. So off the line, it's like, don't want to do it. But this car is the way I like it. The 6-speed auto is really nice, hooks up, just pulls really clean. Getting up to the highway speeds of about 120 kilometers per hour, and I'm setting my radar cruise control once I try not to get shish kebab between these 2 lorries. And it's nice. The big problem with Mazdas of old, the big problem has always been refinement. The problem is Mazdas have been a little harsh and noisy. They've been great handling cars, they've been well-made cars, they never break, but they've always been a little bit noisy. Now the 3 was great, the 3 installation was great. This is a slightly earlier version, and I can tell you something, it's not as great. It isn't as great. It's not bad, but there's a little bit more wind noise. There's no tire noise, thank goodness for that. And the engine noise, you definitely can hear it, but it is a little bit not as quiet. Does that bother me? No. It drives so much better than the CRV, which is a good car. CRV is an excellent car. If you're looking to buy one, you'll be very happy. CRV is an excellent car. If you're looking to buy a RAV4, excellent car. RAV4 is slightly more off-road ability, if that's your jam. If you're like dune bashing in your RAV4s. The CRV is slightly more practical. The RAV4 is slightly better off-road. But on-road, this is the champ. And I say this purely because of the steering. I just love the way this car rolls about. It's almost like an Alfa Romeo. And I can't think of a better compliment than that. Thanks for watching. This is Imthishan. This is Motoring Middle East. Let us know what you want to see next. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Why am I holding up 3 fingers? Questions we'll never answer. See you next time.